Hello YouTube, back again with another video. Today's video is going to be about mettets in voodoo and balancing the elements in the voodoo tradition. Now, I remember I made a meme whatsoever, and I definitely, it was basically about someone who was mixing up different law and stuff like that, and I basically said you can't mix water with fire and stuff like that. So therefore, I want to basically talk about this today. See, there's people that actually think that elements, when a person talk about elements, they're actually element. The when you talk about earth, water, air, and fire and stuff like that, there's a lot of people that actually think that when you're talking about elements, they actually mean that there's physical elements like that in the spirit realm that manifests like that. No, 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 no. What it is that it's a manifestation of how energy moves. You know what I'm saying? So when you talk about the fire element, you'd say that's like a very hot energy. You know what I'm saying? So you talking about pitwo, that stuff is very hot. Now when you're talking about a lot of the loa from let's just say the Congo tradition, they tend to be, let's just say, we could probably put them in the earthy category and stuff like that because they tend to be very like earthbound, like earth, like grounded spirits itself, so, or loa whatsoever. So now it's more like a manifestation itself, when we're talking about the elements. But before I go into elements, you know, well, I'll continue about the elements itself. Each individual, each individual soul has a particular way that it manifests. Some people are hot tempered, some people are cold tempered. That are, some people are more of, like, let's say, more relaxed people, and you got some people that in between whatsoever. So you could say in this, there's different categories of people. Basically, their energy, the way they work. Some people, like, again, hot-headed people, very action oriented people. You know what I'm saying? So you have people whose spirit biochemistry is pretty much made up of of that particular energy manifestation. So when you start talking about the categories, we can pretty much say I prefer to look at there being at least 4 groups of people, and I would prefer to basically put them under those categories of fire, earth, air, and water. I would prefer to keep them in that because that's what makes sense to me. From law that I have dealt with, I've only seen them manifest in those categories itself. And when it comes down to mettet, it is something that I say that a lot of people, I don't like to do divinations when it comes to mettet. I prefer to go with a person's date of birth, the time they were born, and stuff like that, because that pretty much gives me a true manifestation, a true uh a true, let's just say this, a true explanation of the person's spirit chemistry itself. um there's many methods I use for it. There's a traditional ways of using the cards and stuff like that, but I don't trust that because you're doing when for people that's doing divinations in Haitian voodoo with cards itself. I mean, I don't go off of those random. I mean, yes, cards is cards and stuff like that, but I don't go off of cards itself. I like to take the date of birth and then go off of that itself. And with my method of divination, there's many methods, and I guess in Ifa they use the carousels, shells, and they use coconuts and stuff like that. So I guess it depends on what tradition you go to. But for me, talking, since this is a Haitian voodoo oriented video, I want to keep it basically Haitian voodoo centered. But as far as uh, loi is concerned, see, when you're talking about methet, it is basically talking about your ruling element. When you're talking about connecting with a deity, what you're doing is basically finding a host that matches your stream of energy. See, the thing about methet is this: is that each and every one of us has a stream of energy that's flowing into our life. Now, to basically be able to, let's just say, to be able to have control over it, we find a way, or to basically have some sense of control over it, we get a host. The host could be, a dead a person who died whatsoever. By you creating that communion with that spirit, it is basically the underlining factor, the energy let's just say this: if someone wants to call it the Ashe itself, the underlining energy of all things begins to balance itself out. See, people got to understand when we're talking about Met-Tet, you know what I'm saying? We're dealing with a whole science of energy that is beyond just the physical experience of human beings and the rituals itself. Some people would call this energy, I guess in Egyptian studies, the is somewhat similar to the concept of Amen Ra, the concealed force. Basically there's an energy that flows, or we could say a force, whatsoever, that flows through everything, unseen. So when you connect or do your rituals, whatever it is, this unseen force allows things to move for the better or for the worse itself. So when you connect with your Met-Tet, it is as though you're giving a face for the unseen force to flow through, to manifest in your life. See, that's why we have in different cultures, you may say this aspect of this is the same spirit as this spirit. It's not really the same spirit, but it's in that same stream of energy where you have La Sirène in Haitian voodoo. Now it becomes Gemoya in Ifa. Now you have Mamawata whatsoever, if I'm correct, and that's in African voodoo, which, whatsoever, So it's a stream of spirits that manifest well within this stream of energy right here. So we say in this stream, this is the water element. So we have Yemoya, we have La Sirène, Mamawata. So we have different hosts to basically take a face or put a face to this energy that's manifesting, or what some people would call the Ashe, or some people would say is the Amen Ra force, the force of Amen Ra, or like the ancient Egyptians had the symbol of Amen Ra or Aten, the life giver itself. Is like the energy basically being given to creation whatsoever, So the thing about the Met-Tet is this: when we're talking about Met-Tet, it becomes very important to match up with a law that you're compatible with, like it becomes something when you talk about your host, because some of these hosts can basically take up a lot of energy, and it'll be necessarily, it could take up a lot of energy that's not compatible with your field of energy. So let's just say this: if you're of the water element, you can't really match up with a fire element spirit because you'll feel burnt up. It's going to be too hot for you itself, So even in Palo Mayombe, you hear certain people talking about to basically crown your head is a bad thing if a tata crowns your head with the wrong, with the wrong spirit itself, and that's basically the same concept in voodoo. You have to match an individual up with a host that matches their stream of energy. Now, when we're talking about balancing energy, the thing is, I look at it like this: when you're dealing with Lwa, you're dealing with a specific grade of energy itself, a specific element, Now, the thing is, I say to people, I look at the true way of balancing these energies is by having a balanced family of Lwa that you deal with. You don't want to have too much hot, very aggressive Lwa, because that makes you very aggressive and it burns you out very quick. So I say you want to have in between. You want to have some aggressive Lwa and some light Lwa to balance, because you don't want to be angry all the time. And that's not good for you, because when you're dealing with these energies, this is like the smallest things basically makes you get out of balance and out of character, and it's like it just feels like at the end of the day you feel burnt out, Now, in talking about this balancing energy and balancing elements, there's some people that try to use water and try to put different like dirt, different things on a spirit's altar to basically balance their energy. My whole thing is this is my logic behind it. If you are compatible with that spirit or that Lwa, there would be no need for you to balance its energy, because it would be compatible with you. You know, like I remember someone told me about balancing energies. You know, some people talk about why don't I have any water on my altar for my spirit, for my loa, or my, you know, the spirits that I deal with. My whole thing is there's no need because I am in great, and I am in equal resonance with them and their energy. I can handle their energy. See, when you put water on a spirit's altar, that brings their energy down. You know, for me, I put like this. You wouldn't need to do that for, see, most people that, it's like I say, some people, like people that don't know. There's people that, like, for people that don't know, the reason why some people put water on their altar is to basically bring the energy down so they can be at peace itself. Now, if a person understood, you know what I'm saying, the reason behind that, like if excuse me, if a lot of people understood the reason behind that, they wouldn't be doing this, you know, because they would know, well, basically I connect with a loa that I am in close resonance with whatsoever, and there would be no need to basically put all this monkey business on your altar to balance an energy that you're not compatible with. If you're not compatible with the energy, don't work with it, because you're wasting your time. You're basically doing all this stuff to work with a spirit that is not willing to work with you. You know, it's like you're trying to force a connection that's not there, you know? So with that said, I conclude this video. Hopefully it was very informative, and I hope that I got enough across to basically raise awareness, because there's a lot of monkey business going on in Haitian voodoo, you know? With that said, thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe.